King Malcolm and the Wee Herd.
Long, long ago, in the days of King Malcolm, there was a castle, Doric Castle. It was aside the Cluny and Bonnie Braemar too. It was a richt fancy big inn with big steams. King Malcolm aimed the castle, and he often hunted there wi' his men.
Weel in the castle bade a muckle fearsome beast. The muckle beast bade in a pit, and it hid its ain den. It was a muckle wild boar. The constable o' Doric Castle captured the muckle beast, but he didna kill the beast. He keepit the beast as a pet. Folk were afa feared o' it. The muckle beast, it hid an appetite. It ate a hale coo ilky wick.
Well, the constable of the castle was a nasty man. He was coarse and hard-hearted. He didna use his kye to feed the beast. He made the local folk gie the met to feed the beast.
Their coos were ta'en awa, and they couldna do onything to stop it. The constable ruled over them a'.
Weel, there was a local loon, Sandy MacLeod. He bade in a cottage, he say, wi' his peered widowed mother and her coo. Een day it cam the time for the peer widow MacLeod to gie her coo to feed the bull. The constable gave to her hussy and said,
Widow MacLeod, I'm hearing your coo. If you didna gie me your coo, you're out o' your hussy.
Sandy's mother started to greet. Na, name a bonny coo. I wish my man was alive, for he was a great bowman. He would shoot an arrow straight into the heart o' the muckle beast. And that would be the end o' him, and Abdi's coos would be safe. But sadly, my man is no here any more. It's say I'll just hate to get on wi' it. Will Widow MacLeod's young loon Sandy had been listening. He can't killing his mother's coo would break her heart. He can't he'd to act to save the coo. The muckle beast would hate to die.
Sandy had a plan. Sandy was a herd and bowman of some fame just like his father. He would practice day after day looking after his sheep. He decided to make 3 special arrows to kill the beast. The arrows were bobbed and feathered and tied in a special way only Sandy kent.
For bait to lure the muckle beast, Sandy killed a capercaillie.
Sandy took up his bow and arrows and the capercaillie and gaed to the castle. He got on the ledge, recht across the cluny, recht across here the pit o' the muckle beast. He swung the capercaillie round his head 2 or 3 times, and he flung it across the burn in the pit for the muckle beast bit.
Soon the muckle beast came snuffling out frae his den to gobble up the capercaillie. Sandy took aim wi' his arrow and fired his arrow frae off his bow. The arrow whistled loud and flew straight into the heart o' the muckle beast.
The next morning the constable of the castle was raging, found he sad the beast had been slain. He roared out,
"That was the bowman. I'll find the man. He'll die for this."
The soldiers had captured Sandy for the count. He tied his arrows in this neat and special way. They took him back to the castle. Constable said to Sandy, "But why did you kill my muckle boy?" Sandy said, "I did it to stop you taking the kye o' all the poor folk. The poor folk canna afford it, and I would do it again." The raging constable roared, "You hang for fit you've done." Sandy's widowed mother pled to the king to stop the constable fae killing her alone. The king felt compassion for the poor wooden MacLeod. He had a word with the constable. And after he spat to Sandy, "Young manny, I'll give you a chance to win your life back." The king said to his soldiers, "Put his mother on a stony ledge and put a peat on his mother's head. If the loon can shoot the peat off her mother's head, I promise he'll be freed." Sandy and his mother kent it was Sandy's only chance. Sandy saw his mother on the stony ledge with the peat bounced on her head. He was nearly 100 yards away. Poor Sandy's hands were shaking and he took up his bow to aim. But when he looked across the bed, he saw his mother was standing proud and tall, a look of confidence in her een. Sandy drew his bow back and fired his arrow. It struck at his mother and knocked the peat fae off her head. The king said, "Well done, loon. Now you're free. Tell me this though, loon. You wouldn't it be for your arrows, but fit why?"
"I'll tell you fit why. If thon arrow had hit my mither, then the next een would have been for you."
The king was ta'en aback and went "Thich queert," but then he started to laugh and said,
"I'll give you this, young Sandy. You're a honest and a hardy loon. Folk call you MacLeod noo, but fae noo on you'll be cried Hardy. Hardy by nature, hardy by name. You'll join my archers."
But Sandy said,
"I'll never do that, Weed King. You made me risk my mother, and I'll nae be your archer noo." And say it with, Sandy never did join the king's archers. Fae that day on he was kent as hardy. In fact, fae that day on he never took up his bow and arrows again.
Muckle thanks to the bairns at Logie Coldstone Primary School for put together this awfu' brav wee video of the story of King Malcolm and the wee herd. What a rare job they've made at telling the story and drawing their pictures. Well done, Logie Coldstone Primary.
Dum